Hello, and I'm back for the next session, which is now about creating a tar archive. So this one is pretty simple. These are easy points in the exam. I suggest you learn it quick. You make it in different ways. And as a bonus, we will make a little script with it. I didn't have the scripting part in the exam, which I think is a bit sad because I think it's a part of like what you need to learn for the RHCSA. So I don't know how many versions of the exam they have. I hope they have it somewhere, but well, I didn't have the script at all. But I think it's important that you learn how to script. So this is the occasion for you to practice a bit because these tar commands are very simple. Well, we could do much more complicated, but we are going to do this, and then we are also going to do it with a script. So let's start. Basically, it's very simple. They ask you to create a tar archive of Etsy. So the format should be this BZ2. I'm using a form. Well, basically, you have two ways of doing it, but I mean, you have more than two ways even, but we are going to do the simple way, and then I will explain to you another way, maybe. I will first show you the documentation for the tar. You have here all of the stuff like create, which is basically the C, you have all the stuff. Yeah, the C is basically the create, and then you create a file. You have this combination of letters, and you need to specify the file. Usually you want also to include the verbose to see what's happening, so the -v. And one that I find to be extremely useful is the -a. I don't know where it is here because I don't see it, but basically the A is really great because it's finding automatically the kind of compression you need. So basically if it sees that the extension is BZ2, then it will compress it with BZ2. So and that way you don't need to bother, because I hear some people, they will use all those commands specifically for the compression, but for a certain compression format, but I don't do that. It's a bit too annoying. Here you don't even get the examples, which is not so cool in the man page. But you see you have also the BZ2 compressed in it, yeah? So anyway, it's easier. One other one that I like, but you cannot use it during the exam, but it's good to learn. I really like using, actually I forgot to do a set with S. One that I really like is TLDR. Sometimes I talk about it, but it means too long didn't read, and basically it's a collection of examples. Basically you don't get all the documentation, you get some very useful examples for a specific command. For instance, and basically you need to load it like this, and you do an update, and then it's updated, and then you can do TLDR, for instance, star, and it will give you exactly, you see here, it will give you all the syntaxes for a bunch of examples. Here you don't have the one I prefer. I prefer the one with tar caf. Caf is cool because this is the automated, so it picks up the right, based on the extension, it picks up the right compression. And that, yes, it's here, look at this. Look at this, it's very nicely here. So, for instance, and it tells you even, create a compressed archive and write it to a file using the file extension to automatically determine the compression program. So that way, you don't need to specify the compression program, it's much simpler. Honestly, I don't know why people still want to use the other ones where you precise the format, but, well, that's what they do. For instance, you see the gzip, you will need to use Z, and you have others, and you need to remember all that stuff. I think with the automated way it's much better, so that's what I would say. And basically it always goes like this. So basically you will specify interestingly, they specify source tar, but actually, yeah, because it extracts here. Usually when you want to compress, this is this, so you might want to copy this even for learning, and then you should do it without TLDR, because TLDR will not be available during the exam. Anyway, it wasn't for me. I wanted to check some things, but I managed without it, but very well. I only had one mistake in the whole exam. which I haven't found. I hope I will find it at the end of the exam. I mentioned it before in another video, but yeah. So basically we can use that, long story short, and let's do it. So basically what we need to do is create a compressed tar archive of the /etc folder. The format should be tar.bz2 and the name should be this. So basically we can copy this, look at that, up, and it should be in the root, the /root folder. So we are going to change that, and we're going to say like this, and this will be the target. So we want to set root target, or you could say yeah, basically the compressed file that you want at the end, we can call it target. And here you could specify different files that you want as sources, but basically we just want to compress one directory. You could do it the simplest way, that's really the simplest way, and you do etc, and that's it. It will do the job already. You could add a V, I think, here for verbose, then you will see what's happening. I think you can put the V at the end, it's not a problem. So let's try that. And then we can read this normally. Let me see, I think we can read this. Yeah. So you see, now we have this file. Let's do a ls/root. And you see that the backup is there. So if we go back, tldr tar, do they tell you how to list the stuff? Yeah, exactly. You see, remember the T is for list. It's a bit weird, but the T is for list. So if you do, basically, if I go to root, or I could just do that with the absolute path, but I'm here. So if you want to do a tar T, and even TF I think works, and then you give the name of the file, basically my chook, and then it will tell you everything that's in the file. So you see, basically you have everything with the path included though. So look, this would be correct. You created a compressed tar archive of the etc folder, but sometimes they want to be more precise. They might tell you everything inside the /etc folder without the /etc folder itself in the path. If you want to do that, you have to do it a slightly different way. So you could use, let's say, this. We will now do it just for fun, you will see. I'm just showing you different ways. Basically, we could be done. If you just want to pass the exam, you can just stop here, but all the rest from here is kind of bonus. Well, anyway, for the version of the exam I had, I'll show you several things because it's good to be flexible. Who knows what new version is coming up. So basically, we will call this differently because we will make it slightly different. Instead of having this, we are going to do a /c, which is equivalent to the -- directory flag. And this tells you in which directory we are going to be finding the files that we want to compress. So in this case, I say place yourself inside of the etc directory, and from there you are going to select everything and compress it in this new backup file. If you do it without the C here, basically you will compress, like we just did, the whole thing, and you will see the etc folder in there. So normally, if I do it like this, I'll basically compress, and you see the path is different. The path is different. And now if I do this TF with this time the second backup I just did, then you will see the path is not containing the etc folder, which is convenient if you would like to extract it directly in the etc folder, in another etc folder. So yeah, it's kind of another way of doing things. I find it convenient. It is good to know about it. There is also a way to remove the trailing dot and slash, but that's not very important. You can find all this in the man page. It's a bit tricky to find sometimes, but yeah, all the information is there. So basically I showed you two methods. Well, you can also find in the TLDR how to extract stuff. well, you should learn about it, test it. For instance, if I do this my backup thingy, so what is it? Wait a second. TLDR. Yeah. Okay, I'm in tar. So let's do the tar, and then you see, for instance, extract the compressed archive file. So like this, you will just archive it in the current directory. So you go in the current directory, you can use that. If you want to use the target directory, you can use the same flag that we used before, just before, to avoid having the path into the files that are compressed. So you could use that to extract it somewhere else, basically. You see, the -c or -- directory, and then you specify the path. It can be whatever compression format. It doesn't need to find it automatically, because anyway, when you do this, it finds it. It will see the file and then it will put it there. So this is the second way. So with that, basically that's what you need. With tar, you need to know how to compress, how to list what's there, and how to extract. And when you compress, you need to know, for instance, how you go in a certain directory. So that's what I showed you with this -c. But that's about it, basically. You can also, that's funny, you see this one is pretty cool. You can also specify wildcards to extract certain stuff from a tarball. So in that tarball, it will check for the files that are matching this pattern, which is basically everything that ends with .html. So this is pretty cool. You have a lot of possibilities. TLDR is good for learning. Don't rely on that though before the exam. So learn these things a bit, learn to use it, and learn to find the stuff in the documentation. That's very important. TLDR is a nice support, but it won't be there for the exam. So let's do a little script now. Let's have fun. So now I'm going to go in the home Nico. Do I still have my user Nico? Okay, I will do a user add Nico, that's me. And then I will go to my home folder, because I like to keep my things there. And okay, and then I will create a little script. So I will do, let's say, vim tar.sh. And then we're going to do a shebang. It's easy to remember with the shebang. What does shebang mean? It's a way to remember it. Sha is the dash, you know, and bang, bang, like big bang, and it's is the exclamation mark. And then bin bash, it's always the same. And from that, well, I mean, it's always the same. If you want it in bash, you could use Z shell or whatever shell you want to use, but usually for scripting, people use bash. So I put bash in there. And then we want to put the exact command that we've been using before. So basically, we want to tar, and we want to use this calf. You can also put the little dash or not. It will recognize if it's there. I think it should work the same. And then we want to calf the, so we want the file to be in root, and we want it to have this name, and we want the source to be the /etc directory. We can just do it like this time, but remember, if you want not to have the path, you should specify the directory. I don't know why they put a big C for directory. Why not a big D? I mean, but whatever, you know, they probably used the D already and then they didn't know what to do. That's not very useful. You can just, if you're confused and you don't remember, just do it like this. It makes it super easy. Actually, we can use it like this, it doesn't matter. We will even name it backup from script, let's say. Let's be crazy. And we will even echo something for fun. Echo, we managed to make a great script. This is a great script. Okay, and that's pretty good. So we save this. I think we're good. Well, okay, you can also add the verbose to see what's happening. If you're new to this, verbose is just when you basically display what's happening, the logs and stuff, like what is being done by the program. You have very often, depending on the program, different levels of verbose, but here you have just this one, which is useful. So you save this. Importantly, you do a chmod, change mod, and then change the permissions, and then you want to add basically the execute permission to that file, which is basically +x +execute. Okay, I will show you differently. If you do lsl tar, by default those files don't have the execute permission. So if I do now the chmod and I add the permission, then you will see that it has no permission for everybody. You may not want to have it for everybody, I don't care, you do what you want, but that's the way I'm doing it. So now it's as root, and basically Nico would also be allowed, because users like others would be also, Nico would be in others, and then you would also be allowed to run the script. And to run the script you always need to specify the path. You could specify it like this, the complete absolute path. That's one way of doing it. If you do it like this, it's gonna work. Or you can specify the relative path, which is this directory. This means this directory, and then the script name. I'm trying to be exhaustive a bit with the explanation, but probably many of you know already what I'm doing. And then you start the script, and it will do the stuff. And cowardly refusing to create an empty archive. What? Let me have a look. Aha, I know why. Look, I know the mistake I did. This is a very stupid mistake, because now if I do like this, it specifies the directories where we want the source, but it doesn't say what we should do with it. So I forgot the dot. You need to specify what, if you specify the directory as source, like this etc, you don't have to. If you don't specify it, it will just if you just specify etc without the -- directory flag, it will basically put all the paths in the tar, which is fine. It depends on what you want. But if you use the directory flag, then you go into a directory. You need to say what you want to save there. You could specify a certain file or file type, probably with those wildcards, or you just say dot and then everything from that directory. That's what I'm doing here. And I forgot, so I just changed it. So now I can do it again. Actually, I should have some error handling, because now it's saying we managed to make a great script, but we didn't do it. So we could have a check for this. But okay, I don't want to go too far. Let's just run that like this. And normally at the end we managed to make a great script. Okay, and then let's go to root and let's check what's there. And we now have the from script as well. Now, since we have been using the -c, well, the flag with the directory flag, now we shouldn't have the path in that tar. So let's have a look. If we do x, I think from the extract. No, I need the t actually. If I do the t, okay, let's do tar, and okay, it doesn't show up. Doesn't matter. I'll just do manually. I think it's tar tf, and then I specify my extra backup from script. Then it will show, and you see all the path is with this dotted, like it's basically a relative path, and you don't have the whole path with etc in there. So this is what we wanted. So we did everything and we scripted it, and that's it for this lecture. I don't know what to tell you more about it. I think it's good. Yeah, let's finish this one and let's jump to the next.